what's going on? It's Kofi. I'm back with another episode of the WhyNotI podcast. Got a special guest with me today. Got basketball legend, Miss Georgia Jones. She's like Miss England basketball. Like she might even be like close to like just England basketball. Do you know what I mean? We're at the Performance Centre. She's up on the wall. Everything. For everyone that knows about you and like British basketball, obviously you come from like a really like famous family in the game. All of you guys, like you, your brothers, your dad as well, have all done quite a lot in like British basketball, which is quite cool, I think. It's not like dad played, one child played. Like you all played and you all done really well, and I think that's quite sick. And because you're like the only girl as well, you might be the best one of a lot of them as well, which is quite sick. You spoke to your brother about like playing in the garden, growing up and stuff like that. So, and obviously I'm from Birmingham, but I heard about you like growing up through the stages, and then like going Commonwealth games with you, seeing you play and stuff in person. It's just like legit, you know. It's not like legit as a female basketball player. There's no difference. You can hoop. Do you know what I mean? Which I just think is quite cool, man. And obviously we've got to talking over the years and stuff. And it's just, I'm grateful that you're on here.
Yeah, happy to be here. Can't wait. Looking forward to these awkward questions.
No, it won't be awkward. So, for people that don't know, who's Georgia Jones? Like, for a person that's not necessarily deep in the basketball game, like, or even a basketball fan, like, who would you say Georgia Jones is?
First awkward question. Yeah, I mean, I've played my whole life. Like, basketball is me. So yeah, I think I would just like describe myself as a player, like you said, as a hooper, but it's been part of my life for my whole life. It was almost hard to escape it.
Really?
With my dad obviously playing and then coaching, and then my two older brothers, it was like inevitable that I was going to play too. And I obviously didn't want to miss out as the youngest, so yeah, anytime they were involved, I was like, I want to be involved too.
Was there any other sports that you was like interested in? Because like people think of like Michael Jordan, and he has kids, and a lot of athletes have kids. Sometimes they want to go completely the other way to like do something else. Was there any other sports you was like interested in?
I tried everything, to be honest. Like both my parents. I think my dad was probably always pushing basketball, but my mum like put me in loads of different things. So yeah, growing up, I think I obviously played like football, netball, like rounders at school, but a little bit of everything, even swimming. But basketball's the one that really stuck from like the beginning. So yeah, nothing really compared at that point. It's hard to beat it.
What was it like? So you've got your two older brothers. What's the age difference between you?
I'm 5 years younger than Callum, 7 years younger than James. Yeah.
So, especially growing up, especially when you're like young as well. Physically, there's a big difference. Do you know what I mean? In terms of like body type and stuff. But you said that you wanted to always be involved. What was it like in the garden? Because Callum spoke to us about, we got proper hoop in the garden and like we get to it. So like, what was it like growing up?
Yeah, so I remember like a lot of nights when I was really young, like it would be my bedtime and I'd have to go in and I'd just be sat at the window just like fuming that I wasn't still alive out there. Like, motivating me, you know. Like honestly, I remember like really like specifically staring out the window and watching those two still going, and I'm like, this is not fair. And it used to be like me and my dad against those two, and at the time obviously he was killing them, so I'm just like on the train just like trying to win. But yeah, it got to a point where like I could actually like give something back a little bit. But I really do think it like spurred on like that motivating factor, like the competitiveness for sure. And yeah, like obviously competing against my brothers and stuff like that, it's obviously going to make me better. And even like you said, the physicality of it, it's going to help me. So going back down to like my own age group, even against girls or boys, whoever it was, I was like dominating. I was like killing it. It was great. But so a lot of good memories. But it definitely was a reason why I think I'm so competitive now.
Yeah, I can imagine because. That's so, I think that's super pivotal in terms of like your development and stuff, because at such a young age, planting that seed of like competitiveness for the levels that you've reached now, that's kind of like a theme that's gonna have to carry you on, because to be elite at sport, you need to have that level of competitiveness, that drive. Like even when you went over to America, you've done Eurobasket, like to be at that level, everyone's good now.
Yeah.
So like, what can you do? How do you not give up? Because sometimes you play well, sometimes you don't. But that competitiveness to keep going is what keeps someone a professional.
Yeah, definitely agree with that.
So you've represented not that many clubs. It's like same with your brother, like Manchester.
Pretty loyal.
You know what I mean? Like for real. I'm looking stuff up and I'm like, it's like two clubs, like barking for a little bit.
Yeah.
Romania.
Yeah.
And like all Roberts.
Yeah. Or Leicester for a bit. Yeah.
Leicester for a bit, but like really like big chunks of your career in Manchester. So what was it like going through the age range as a girl in Manchester for like British basketball?
Yeah, it was. Well, I had a really good experience. When I first got involved with like National League stuff, we didn't have a team. I think I was 11 or maybe 10 when they first time they got a team out. That was what I was part of, and it was under 16s, and I was 10. So there was literally nothing.
You were playing under 16s at 10?
Yeah, at 10. Oh, I've got a bad story because then I moved up to under 18s at like 11 for a game, which was crazy. But yeah, so they had no girls program, and then they started under 16s team, but I was obviously really young. Yeah. And we won the RAF actually. That's when I was playing with.
So at Cosford?
Yeah, so like Lauren, Joe Leedham, Jen Leedham, like all these like girls, they were still young, they must have been like 14 maybe, 13 even, but we won that first year. And then Ellesmere Port got a team, and that's when Joe and Jenny like moved over and stuff. Yeah. But yeah, that was the first sort of team, proper National League team I was part of, and I was like 10, 11.
You've been a winner from forever.
That probably spurred me on, like that was my first initial like experience.
How was it for you? Did you feel like you could hang? Do you feel like playing with your brothers and your dad and stuff had you prepared and stuff? Yeah, so I was playing like like local league stuff from like really early, like probably like 6. And like, I think obviously playing, I was always having to play with older players, so I kind of just got used to it. I was always like the smallest one, but like skill wise, I did so much work like with my dad, like off the court. Right work.
Yeah, exactly. Like fundamentals like drilled into me from really early on. So when I was coming up against these older players, it was like fundamentally and like skill wise, I was like above them. Yeah. It was just the physicality, but obviously if you're smart enough, you can figure that out. So I felt like I didn't really notice it, to be honest. Even like when I was playing like England, so when with the under 14s, England when I was 11. So and I didn't really notice it. Do you know what I mean? I didn't think. I just thought I was a bit smaller. Yeah. So yeah, I think obviously playing with older people throughout has really helped. Sort of make it normal. Yeah. And then you don't really think about it.
So you represented your country, the England level, literally at every single level.
Yeah.
What was that like? Because you weren't just playing at your age, you're playing above. But I feel like playing in Manchester, when you get to like an England setup, really does prepare you for that style of basketball. Do you know what I mean? Because Manchester's very fundamentally sound. Like before I think when I was like 16 or 17, I'd never like use certain plays or certain screens and stuff like that, but you guys have been implementing how to use a pick and roll from early. Do you know what I mean? So when you got to England's setup, do you feel like that kind of preparation really had you just comfortable?
Yeah, I think like we were fortunate that we had such good coaches, especially at the time, and obviously my dad. But yeah, I was brought up through like a system that was just really high quality coaches. And like I said, at the time they also pushed people to play the next level. Yeah. Like you might be killing it under 16s, but you're definitely good enough to play under 18s, so that's going to be your priority. Yeah. Like, it wasn't any of this holding back, so you can just dominate at that age group. So I think that was a big theme. But yeah, I think going into like the England stuff again, it was like it did feel like you're one of the better teams. Like the Manchester people did feel like one of the better players on the team. And it must have been because of the coaching that we were receiving, like literally week in and week out.
So the older you got, the older your brothers are getting, the better they're getting, the better you're getting. What's that like in the household? because like you can't really chat to me now, really. Like, we can go in the garden and we can hoop, you know what I mean? And the only reason you might just win is because you're like bigger and stronger, but skill-wise, like, if you don't want to play one-on-one, we can do a shootout. Do you know what I mean? We can do that. How? Because you've gone from windowsill to I don't really need to fume anymore. Like, we can mix the teams up if you want. You know what I mean? What was that like?
I don't know if it actually felt like that at the time. I don't know. We've always been like super supportive, but also super critical too.
Yeah.
So it's like around the dinner table, you're gonna hear so many opinions about, you know what I mean, like how you played. Even on the ride back home, it's like you straight away getting it.
Yeah.
I think as siblings we kind of like united, because obviously my dad,
Jeff.
you know what I mean, you can imagine those rides home, like, anything you made, any mistake you made, you were going to hear about it. Yeah. Obviously you hear the other stuff too. He's like the guy on the side that's like telling you, like, he's not coaching, he's like a spectator. You're inbounding the ball and he's got a little tip for you before you go on. Like, I remember that REF, like, you know, when he had like your stands and people are supposed to sit on the stands, he's in the corner in a little chair on the opposite corner, just like any little chance you can get, giving me a little tip. So we had a lot of opinions, and the siblings sort of like gave a bit more, like, you know, supportive feedback. But yeah, I think even now, like I'm still like nervous watching like Callum play, or like James when he was playing, but like it's all because we want him to do so well. And so that is nice that we can like relate so well to each other.
That's mad cool, because so many siblings end up in competition rather than supporting each other. Do you know what I mean? Especially when you play the same sport and stuff. You should want them to do well. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't take away from your success in such a competitive arena, and I think that's amazing. So I was looking online, and you've gone to like Eurobasket, I don't know how many times. You've done hella. You've been doing it since young as well. So what was the first age that you went to Eurobasket?
So we started with like qualifiers. The first time I competed with GB, I was 16.
With GB seniors? Yeah. Because obviously we're getting the whole theme now that you play above. But there's above are like 14s to 16s, 16s to 18s. Then 18s to like Division 1, like women's. But GB, like Eurobasket, like he was 16.
I jumped. So basically,
jumps.
A couple of jumps. Basically, Mark Clark was the coach at under 16s England, like you know, like a little Eurobasket we went to, the European, sorry. So he was coaching there, and he'd seen me play and stuff, and he's good friends with my dad. But he obviously saw me in that tournament. He's like, I want you to come to senior camp, because he was the senior coach at the time.
Yeah, just come and see how you do.
Yeah, basically. So I was like, literally, please don't make me go. I was like so terrified. I'm like going to like Andrew Connery. He was like, these people that have been playing like years, like top level women.
Longer than you've been alive.
Well, exactly. Like I'm talking like Jo Leadham was young. Like she was at that camp, but like she's still in university. She had to go back to university. She didn't play that year. But like the people that they're old to me are young in this setting, and I'm like, what? Like I'm just like a little kid. So yeah, I was like terrified when I went, but literally when I was there, everyone was obviously great, like so welcoming. But it's basketball, so it's like I felt comfortable, and I think obviously Mark being the coach, I like knew him well, and he knew me, and he had so much confidence in me that it was hard to not feel confident in myself. Still terrified, but I knew like when I was playing and stuff, I was going to be okay. And I remember like one specific like moment, and we were playing like a friendly game at home. Might have been like Iceland or someone like that. Anyway, and they were full court pressing.
Was you one on one?
Yeah, so he put me on as the one, full court pressing, and I remember like somebody like went to come back to like get the ball. It was like man to man, and he just went,
she's fine.
Yeah, she's fine. And honestly, like it makes me feel like it's still amazing now. I was like that little motion that he probably thought was just did it naturally meant like so much. I was like, I've got this, you know what I mean? And that really did like spur it on, and I ended up getting picked for the team. He was like why not? Basically, you've shown that you can play, and it was insane. So we played 4 games, and the first game I played like a few minutes. Second game played like maybe like just under 10. Third game played like maybe a bit more, 12. Last game, he comes to me and was like,
"You started?
I'm thinking about starting you." I was like, what? It was at Nottingham. Yeah, Jesse Boots or whatever, and playing against Portugal, playing against Tisha Penicheiro, WNBA guard. And I was like, Trish, what's happening? He's like, how do you feel about that? And I was like, I didn't even know what to say. He's like, well, how do you feel? And I was like, I have to be honest. I was like, I'd feel a bit better like coming off the bench, I think. Like, not playing. Like, what is happening? And I've done alright. All my job was to get the ball at the floor safely and us into offense, put us into offense. Like, in my head, easy. When I'm playing my own age group, I've got to do so much more.
Yeah.
All I've got to do is look after the ball.
Yeah, just don't turn it over.
Run the offense.
Play defense.
Do you know what I mean?
Starting's a little different. So
starting, I was like, I think I feel better if I come off the bench, which I'm like, I think was the right opportunity. But anyway, within like 2 minutes of the game, Georgia in, right? And I played like around 32 minutes, something like that. And I played alright. I had like 7 points, something like that. Like some nice assists.
You're 16, remember as well?
I was like, honestly, at the time, I was just didn't really comprehend it. I was just like, what is actually happening? But yeah, that was like my first GB senior experience.
Wow.
Yeah, and it was just insane. And then I was like, basically, from that point on, until when I went to America, I was basically splitting minutes with Lisa Hutchinson at the time. So like, we were basically just the one guards for the team from like 17 to we went out to America.
Mad. So, at that age now, coming back from an experience like that, what's that like for your mental, for when you're back playing your own age group, or whatever age group you're playing at this point? Because you're playing up so many different levels. Like, you're 16, you've got a Eurobasket, or you've been picked for the team. When you come back, are you playing Division 1 women? So, are they putting you back in 18s?
Yeah, no, I was still playing Division 1 women, but we played, at that time, we played like under 18s, but just the cup. So my main team from when I was 16 was the women, Manchester Mystics women, and I had Sergio as the coach. So yeah, again, it still felt like I'm constantly like trying to like, I'm basically so motivated because I'm always playing against people that are bigger than me or better than me or more experienced than me. So coming back from GB, it was just again the same situation. I never was able to like drop down and like coast. It was almost like every time I played 18s, I've got to play like as well and as, you know, just keep everything that was important at that level here now at 18s and sort of bring that level up. So I think that was a really good choice, is like, you know, playing up and keeping that as your main team so that you don't dip.
Keeping that drive, because when you get too comfortable sometimes it's just boring or...
Right, it's easy, isn't it? You make it like you're just sloppy. So it was like, the focus was very much like, bring the level up rather than get comfortable, because I'm always surrounded by people that are better than me in my main basketball.
What was when you was younger and you started playing, you know how a lot of kids start thinking, I want to go NBA, WNBA, I want to do this, I want to do that. Did you ever think that far ahead of why you wanted to play and what you wanted to achieve? Yeah,
so I was definitely wanting to go to America from quite early, I think, probably like 14.
Because your dad's American?
Yeah, I think so. I think like the opportunities were very like made clear to me. So obviously you can get a scholarship and like I'd seen a bit of it, so I knew like how professional they took it, and it looked so like glorious.
You
know? So like it looked so appealing from an early age, and then my brother James went first, and then Callum went, and even like Lauren, like I was really close with Lauren growing up, so when she went, I was like, yeah, I definitely want to do this, and I know people have gone like, both my brothers went at like high school, like just after basically that gap year, you know, between university. They went to high school first and then went to university.
You went straight, right?
And I went, so I was really drilled into me like, you know, education's important, you want to get your A-levels, all this stuff. So I was told like you'll be okay. Basically, you'll get a decent offer if you wait till 18 and go. Because at the time, not many women had gone. And if they had gone, it was because they got in early and they were seen. So it was kind of like, because what I was doing on an international level,
helped for sure.
It was like, you'll be okay, like just keep doing what you're doing, get your education done, you know, keep playing internationally and you'll be seen and you'll get offers, which is exactly what happened. So yeah, but it was from quite early that I wanted to do it.
Where did you get your offers from? Was you receiving them in the summers? Because obviously you're playing Euro basket, you're not playing England teams and stuff like that. So is that when, like, how were the offers coming? Because our generation is a lot different to now. Because a lot of these kids now, they got EABL, this, that and the other. Got colleges flying over here to come watch them play. For us it was a graft. We didn't really have YouTube like that. Like, games weren't recorded, coaches aren't putting stuff up on their phones, like you barely have your stats recorded. Do you know what I mean? So what was the process like for you?
So a lot of phone calls. Really, like, and it was almost like, I don't know who was talking about me, but someone was talking about me because people were getting, like, I don't know really what was going on, but people were getting in touch with me and calling me, and I'm sure my dad was heavily involved in that. But yeah, like, I didn't necessarily, you know, like now you're making your highlight tapes and but it was almost like I was hearing from people and then it was like, right, well, I'll send you my tape. It wasn't necessarily the other way around, so I was really fortunate that I was even getting acknowledged, but I think it's because of that international.
The level you were playing at as well, like it's hard not to get noticed at the level that you were at.
And like being young as well, so it's like people are going to take notice. But yeah, so I remember, like, obviously people getting in touch by phone and stuff. It was like just dead old school, like sending me brochures and stuff, you know, like all that stuff. But yeah, so basically all Roberts were the ones that sort of consistently were speaking to me. There's a number of reasons why I chose there in the end, but that was basically they were with me at the start of when I was looking, and they stuck with me like the whole time. And then I obviously went on a visit there. I knew that, like, to go high, you know, major, it was going to be tricky for me to sort of prove myself. Straight away.
Especially coming from, you're not doing a high school, you're not doing AAU, do you know what I mean? You're English, even playing internationally, Americans at that time, especially, they're thinking, don't know the level of the competition, do you know what I mean? That small mindset. Now, they know we get cracking in Europe, do you know what I mean? So
it's like all of the big schools that were talking to me, although it felt like, you know, like obviously they're great, like the big schools, and it felt like it was too unknown what the situation was going to be like
once I got there.
So whereas like the mid-major Division 1s, it was like I knew I could compete at that level. I knew I was going to play. I knew I was going to improve in certain ones, and then like where All Roberts is, it was like really close to my dad's side of the family. So I was like, that was a big pull for me because I am like a homebody. I like my family, like being around them. So I thought being away, that's probably like the best of both worlds, being around family, well, not too far away, I think it was like 2 hours.
Especially when you got 3,000 miles away.
Right, so I was like, I knew that was an important factor to me, and then I knew that if I was going to go somewhere, I want to be playing. Like I've been in situations since then where I've not had court time, but up until that point, I'd played, and I wasn't sure how I would handle it, to be honest. So I knew from freshman year I'd play, and so it just seemed like the best fit there.
I think that's amazing for you to have been that self-aware at the time, because especially with choosing to go to America, like I speak to kids all the time, they want to go to the big schools. Like even I wanted to like go high major, blah blah blah, but it's about playing basketball. Do you know what I mean? You can bet on yourself when you're trying to go to a big school and work your way up, or you might get an opportunity. It's a tough one to choose. Do you know what I mean?
It is.
Going and actually playing is a lot more important than having it on your resume and not playing.
Exactly.
You don't have the experience. Do you know what I mean? If you're trying to go pro,
and it's like, well, why are we involved in basketball? Do you want to play? Like, as much as you should be a good teammate and understand your role and your place. Like, absolutely. But at the same time, everyone plays basketball, so they're on court, not so they're on the bench. So I just knew that that's what I wanted to do.
Yeah. You was at Old Roberts with another English player, Dominique Anna. Did you know her before you went there?
Yeah, so a little bit. We'd played 1 year under 18s together.
Okay.
So yeah, I knew her a little bit, but not much. I played against her obviously.
Yeah.
But yeah, when we went there, we were there at the same time 4 years. So yeah, we got really close at that point.
Did you guys talk before? Because were you both freshmen at the same time?
Yeah.
Did you guys like discuss? Because obviously in the basketball community, when you don't know a person like that, but like you two might be going the same place, you text them, you talk that's your homie now.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because you guys have got so much in common compared to everyone else and what you're going through.
Yeah.
Your friendship starts to develop. So like, what was that like for you guys?
It was pretty. We were speaking on Facebook probably at the time.
Oh
yeah.
We probably had MSN at the time.
To be fair, no, I think it was Facebook, and we just like messaged like, oh, then like they're recruiting you, like how's it going, kind of thing. And then we both sort of decided around the same time. I can't remember who told who first, but it was like, I think I'm gonna go, and it was like, yeah, I think I'm gonna go. And it was like, yeah, done deal. And then Crystal Turner actually went. She's from Seven Oaks. She went as well at the same time. So there's three English players there at the same time. But yeah, so it was good because obviously you're not on your own. Yeah, that was good. But yeah, just like home comforts and stuff like that. Good to be around.
It's mad because at that time I just got to Arkansas and Oral Roberts is at Oklahoma.
Yeah.
And I knew Dom because obviously she's from Birmingham.
Yeah.
And we was texting and stuff just about like what's it like, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And where I was at, there was no English people, and I was like, man, I'm over these Americans, man. They're just jarring. But she remember saying to her, because I knew you was there, but I didn't actually know you at the time. So I was just like, what's it like having another English person? Because that must just be just nice to hear that accent, or just be able to talk about something and crack a joke, and they get it. Do you know what I mean? So basketball wise, what was your 4 year? You said 4 or 5?
Yeah, 4 years. Yeah.
Did you graduate early and get your masters?
No, I got the masters back here.
Is that when you was at Leicester?
Yeah.
So what was your experience like at Oral Roberts, like across the years?
Yeah, so I'd say like up and down, but for different reasons really. So the first year I went, I played like heavy minutes. I actually got freshman of the year for the conference. So that was a really good experience. Our team basically lost like 2 of the starters on our first year there, which kind of helped me, but again I'm playing 40 minutes, not probably 20 is what I should have been playing. But yeah, so as a team we struggled, but individually I had a really good season. But obviously I wasn't really happy with that. But yeah, it was nice to have a productive year because I kind of established myself. And then the year after we won the conference, so we had a big jump there. We basically improved a lot. But yeah, it was basically we were really young the first year, and then the second year we got a couple of good freshmen in, and we all had a bit more experience. So yeah, it was great the second year, but I actually got injured. I basically had a really weird like cyst on my bone in my shin, and after my freshman year I had to get it lasered off, and it kind of nicked the bone. Yeah, so my second year, about Christmas time, I was like, there's something not right with this, and I basically had to go get it like x-rayed and stuff, and I had like a hairline fracture like all the way through. Because
of the laser?
Yeah. So I have basically only had that first part of the season, but it was too late to redshirt. Yeah, so that was a
usually
killer.
like 5 games, isn't it?
Yeah, so that was a killer. So I just got to that point where it's like, yeah, you can't redshirt. So that year was the tough year, obviously, because I'm in America. I've come to play basketball, and now I can't do that. In a way, it was good because it kind of, up until that point, I was very like, I'm here for basketball. I'm just doing basketball, and I wasn't necessarily experiencing everything else. So not saying like partying and stuff, but like just in general, like everything that comes with being away from home, and like so that was the positive of that. Being on the sideline was like, yeah, I'm able to assess the game from a different perspective, but also I'm able to invest in other things, like other people outside of athletes, or you know like whatever activities that were going on with the university, like I was able to do that and not feel like I'm taken away from basketball.
Yeah.
And then my third and fourth year, we again won conference my third year, and had another good year. And then my fourth year, I think we came second or third. But yeah, so from that point on, it was pretty solid. I had a pretty decent career. And we went to NIT my third year.
Okay.
Got to like Sweet 16, which was the best the program's done. But yeah, so overall it was really positive. But yeah, tough second year. Really.
Yeah. Mentally dealing with injuries, especially with always being able to play.
Yeah.
Never having like big breaks from like being injured and stuff.
Yeah.
The mental side of that, obviously you decided to immerse yourself more in like campus and stuff like that. But what was it like being at practice, watching everyone play? Did you still have to travel with the team?
Yeah.
Like, what's that like?
Yeah, so it was really tough. Well, when I first sort of got diagnosed with what the problem was, they were basically saying like they wanted to put a rod in my shin, and that would have been like so many months recovery kind of thing, or it was basically to get me back quicker.
Yeah.
Coaches wanted me to put a rod in so I could get back, and I was like, no, I'm like on the phone to like GB doctors here, and they're like, no, don't let them touch you, like you let yourself heal basically.
Now they're getting pissed off at you.
Now they're getting mad at me. I'm like, I remember going back into my coach's office and him being like actually mad at me saying like, I'm out for the season. Like I remember his response, and I was literally like I left. Yeah, I left and was like, alright, yeah, and he ended up calling me and like kind of apologising and saying like, sorry, it's just, it's a big loss kind of thing. And I was like, yeah, but like think about how I feel. So yeah, it was really, really tough at the beginning. And then obviously, yeah, go into everything. So like all the practices and stuff, obviously doing your rehab, you go into practice and you're just sitting there watching. And first month or so I was like really, really depressed, like why am I here, basically. Like I've come for basketball, that's been taken away, and now I'm just...
Did you think about going back to England?
Probably, yeah, I probably did. Like I don't remember like a specific time of thinking about it, but I know that I was on the phone to family and stuff, and like yeah, it was definitely hard that first sort of period. And like I said, that's the only way that really got me out of it, is that I started to like look outside of basketball. Yeah, and then like the other thing was that you feel left out by coaches for sure. Teammates obviously help, but coaches for sure make you feel left out. But yeah, when I started like venturing outside, looking at other things, trying to make myself involved in other ways, that then made me feel better on the sideline, if that makes sense. So then I'm able to like contribute to practice and like say things regardless of how other people make me feel. Like teammates were always great. But yeah, just feeling happy outside of the court helped me bring it back to the court.
100%.
Yeah.
That's tough, because I know exactly what you mean when you say coaches make you feel a certain way.
Yeah.
Where it's kind of like, oh, you're over here doing your rehab because you're choosing not to come and help the team.
Yeah.
You're choosing not to come back. It's like a silent undertone that players can pick up on, and that's really tough to handle because everyone's playing. You're not playing. It's really only you getting it, and everyone else knows it's happening too. But it's not like something that's going to get resolved in a week when you're back on the court and now that's dropped. It's like the rest of the season. Did you ever worry about how they might be with you, like going forward for like summer workouts or pre-season? Because end of that year, was you healthy again? Did you go play Europeans?
Yeah, no. So basically, the summer, that was my first summer like out of European competition. I actually went to the under-20s camp for like rehab and stuff.
Did they like that? Because they probably think you might be trying to sneakily play or...
No, I don't remember like that interaction. I just remember like getting through the season and being like, I need to really prove myself to get back into that, starting lineup, all that stuff. So yeah, I remember feeling like, it's almost like guilt, isn't it? Like you feel guilty for being injured, and like you
say you've done it on purpose.
Yeah, it's your fault, or and you want, it's almost like you're trying to prove to people that it's actually a big deal, like it's serious. Like I'm not soft. I wouldn't be like I've played through a lot. I actually played through the stretch factor from pre-season to December. So like, you know, and it's like you're trying to prove a point, like, yeah, it's actually, I wouldn't be doing this if I didn't have to. But yeah, I went in the summer with GB, it was like, it's in Manchester, so I went to go see the physios and stuff, and they actually said, you know, we want to take you to Europeans, I know you're 50% and you might not play. And I was like, I don't think I can do that, like, I'm not ready to play. If I go, there's a chance you might put me on.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and also knowing that I'm going not to play, taking a spot from someone that's capable of playing doesn't feel right. So I basically said no to that. And by like September time, I was still kind of doing like rehab stuff, but I was like getting back into it. So I basically had the full season the next season.
When did you fly back to America? August?
Yeah.
So you graduated, and what year is that? Like
2012.
2012?
Yeah.
So you're healthy, you're playing basketball, you graduated, time to turn pro. 2012 Olympics now, biggest thing our country has probably ever had.
Yeah.
And the women got to actually play in it. What was that experience like for you? Because you've literally done everything up to this point, especially representing your country from like 16.
Yeah.
What was that like?
Yeah. So the year before, the summer before the Olympics, we played World Student Games, and they actually had a senior camp just before that, that I was still in summer school for, so I couldn't come back. But up until that, they had a new coach and I'd not been invited. So I had this injury and I was kind of out of the loop for GB. So then that summer before the Olympics, they invited me, but it was like last minute. It was basically like, you should invite her after everyone else is outside, you should invite her. And it was too late. I had to do summer school in order to graduate in time for the Olympics.
Okay.
So I was like, I can't go.
Because you can't be doing summer school the next summer.
Right.
You gotta do it now, get the credits.
So I was like, I kind of have to go, and I'm also going to be doing the World Student Games, but the senior team's coach is going to be the assistant coach at.
Okay.
So I was like, if I go there, I'll try my hardest to prove myself there, show me what I can do, kind of thing. Anyway, so we went, I had a really good tournament there, and I ended up getting invited to Olympic camp following summer. So yeah, I basically finished early, graduated early, so I could go to camp. And yeah, so I was down to, I think there was like 16 left. I was like the cook before Lauren, basically. But yeah, it was from the 4 previous years, it was all about the Olympics. So I'm in college, that was my first goal. The next goal was get to the Olympics. Like you said, I've been involved since 16, and I think that switch of coach at that time with my injury didn't help that situation. So yeah, like I said, I did enough in that tournament to sort of show him a little bit, and then I got to camp, but ultimately it just wasn't going to happen. So
that's tough. So mentally, how did you handle that? Because in our sport, getting cut like right before something big, and the thing is in our sport is we don't really get given stuff. Like, we have to work our asses off just to even be in the conversation. Do you know what I mean? It's not like it's necessarily like we just get to chill and it's down to an opinion. It might be down to opinion, but there's still blood, sweat, tears, elbows in the ribs, putting up shots, injuries, ice. Do you know what I mean? Like, we put the work in regardless. So what was that like? Because up until this point, you've ticked off pretty much every single thing you wanted to do. So mentally, this is different for you now. Do you know what I mean? It's great for you as a person. But like, what was it like mentally?
Yeah, pretty tough. Yeah.
I bet.
I think like as all of that, what you just said, on how much you invest, how much it's like, you know, it's the thing that everyone wants to be involved in. Like
2012 Olympics in England, you know what I mean? Like
there's nothing
doesn't come around again.
That at all. And the way I was cut was, it's just not your time, mate. Like,
mad, but then like 2016 is going to be in Rio. Needs to be now.
I was like, when is this going to happen again? But so that was tough because that was the response. It was just sort of like, it's not your time. So like, how'd you take that? I don't know. But and at the time, because I'd been playing the whole time, it felt like I had so much experience, and like
Really?
It didn't feel like I was young. In numbers, I was young.
Yeah.
Compared to everyone else, I was young. Compared to the last 4 years, because they'd all been involved,
Yeah.
I was young.
Yeah.
But at the time, I was like, I've got like over, at this point, probably 30 caps for GB.
Yeah.
I'm just like, yeah. So that was really tough to take, and also on top of all that, the expectation of me getting picked.
Yeah.
So everyone thought that I was going to get picked because I've been involved.
Yeah.
So that was just as hard.
Yeah. I think that was harder.
Yeah, I think obviously like you're around your family and they're supportive and they don't care, like they're just as long as you're happy kind of thing. But I think for me, I do like definitely take that on board. Like the reason I hold myself to a higher standard is because I want to present myself as a professional, as an elite player.
Yeah.
Like if I didn't like have those standards, I wouldn't have achieved what I have.
Yeah.
So I do, like I want people to see me as that.
Yeah.
And
because you are that, and you hold yourself to that.
Right, exactly. And you put in that work, you want to be, interpreted as that. So yeah, that was difficult, and I think that was probably like the hardest part. Sort of coming to terms with the fact that I've let myself down, but then I've also like underachieved in everyone's eyes. Is how it felt. So yeah, it was difficult. The best thing I did was basically got involved in the 3x3 that summer.
Okay.
So that was the first time that they had like the FIBA World Tournament in Athens, and that was basically going on just after. So I was doing all the training and stuff during the Olympics.
Okay.
And that was literally the best thing I could have done, because 3x3, as you know, is like formally.
Yeah.
It's just like the best side of basketball, like without the drama it seems. So getting involved in that, having such a positive experience, really did, switch it up. Because at the time I was like, what is the point? This was my goal. Should I just stop now? We're not going to make another Olympics. Like, this is my mindset. What is the point in playing? And then I did that and was like, this is why I play. Like,
have fun, to enjoy it.
Enjoy it, yeah.
That's dope, because we've all been there, and it's nice for you to touch on what you did that was able to help you keep going forward. Because it's so hard to do that.
Yeah, it is.
Do you know what I mean? And when it's the perception of others, I think that's one of the hardest things to ever shake, because it's imaginary.
Yeah.
And depending on where you're at personally at that space and time will be how you think and feel.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? If you're in a great space at that time, you're like, nobody cares. No one's going to judge me when I walk in that arena. But then when you're a little bit shaky, you feel a bit of a way going to a basketball game, because you feel like everyone's eyes are on you. They're thinking, she didn't make the team. He got caught. He's not good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's all in your head. So it's great that you was able to find something that helps.
Yeah.
So right after that, where did you play? Was it Leicester?
Yeah.
What made you want to get your masters as well?
Oh, sorry, it was London Barking.
Oh, you London
so
Barking.
I did that 1 year of Barking and then Romania, and then I went to Leicester. So after the Olympics, after the disappointment of the Olympics, I was getting like some offers, like from Europe, but I think that didn't help. The fact that I didn't get picked, because then my international summit was 3x3, and obviously at the time it was the first one. No one's going to see that as anything. So I did get like a few offers, but it wasn't great money. So Mark Clark at Barking was like, "Look, come to Barking. I'll give you a clause where you can get out of contract if you get, a European offer or whatever." So he really did. I was like, I know I'm gonna enjoy basketball. Like, I love Mark as a coach. So that was another good experience. And then at Christmas time, I had 2 offers. One was Sweden, and the other one was Romania. And Romania was a slightly longer contract, because obviously I was doing half a season. So I chose Romania and went there for the rest of the season.
How was that experience? Because it's your first time now overseas, that's not America.
Yeah.
European basketball, professional basketball, compared to collegiate, Division 1 in America, 2 different things.
Yeah.
What was that experience now for you?
Crazy, isolated, and just like, just culture different, people were super nice. I was the only person I was the only import on the team, and the only probably 2 people could speak English. Like everyone was a little broken English. Coach couldn't really speak English. And I went into a situation where it was like playing 40 minutes. I want you to like 20 points a game. Like you are the person, which was great, but also like tiring. So yeah, our team at the time was like basically all under 23 players, apart from a couple.
Wow. How
So
old
we
was
were
you at this
super
time?
young. I was 22, 23.
No.
So when I got there, they were like, we actually play in this under 23 competition as well, so we want you to play in that. I was like, right, okay. So I'm playing, there was like 2 or 3 tournaments during that time. I'm playing like professional, top level, and then doing these tournaments on the side. But
You must
it
have been
was a lot.
exhausted.
It was a lot, yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah.
And what was the rehab and stuff like to keep your body fresh? Because obviously people don't know what it's like in like women's basketball.
Yeah.
In men's basketball, it can be shoddy as well.
Yeah.
But like in women's basketball in Romania,
Yes.
like in professional basketball, it doesn't matter where you could be anywhere. The team in the city next to you or town next to you could be amazing.
Yeah.
Yours, they ask you to tape yourself.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean? Like, what was it like
Yeah,
for
it was a
you?
bit like that.
Because remember, you're coming off your shin situation, and obviously, just the health and like well-being of you in Europe is really down to you.
Yeah,
You know
no,
what
it
I mean?
absolutely is. I remember the first like training that we did. I got there in January and it was like snowing and icy outside, and the first thing we did was a run outside, like on on ice. Like I can't tell you, my hip flexors the next day because I'm just so tense
to make sure you don't go.
To make sure I don't. I'm running on ice. Like it was insane. I was like, this is not normal. Not to mention, we're at a party the night before. Like one of my first nights there. Like, oh, we're all going out because it's this teammate's birthday. It was like, right, okay, kind of have to go. I was like, we've got training tomorrow at 8, right? And they're like, yeah, but coach is gonna be there. I'm like, right, okay. I'm like, okay. And then I'm like, I don't know where I'm going, so I have to stay at this party because the person I'm staying with, they can take me home. I don't know where I'm going. So yeah, that was my first experience. I was like, where am I? Like, yeah. But as far as rehab and stuff, we had like a strength and conditioning coach and like those proper European gym type behind the court. Like, show you a lot of gyms. You had one of them, but yeah, it was very much like look after yourself.
I had that in Spain where it was like there's the court, the gym's right behind the court. It was like a 1960s gym. I'm looking at the dumbbells and stuff thinking what? But they had the mindset of we're gonna lift before practice and after practice every day. And I was like, what on earth? The amount of reps and sets, you guys have lost your mind. Oh God, crazy. So you spent a lot of your career playing in the UK. Did you not feel like to be established as the level of caliber player you are that you needed to apply your trade in Europe? Because that's what a lot of people seem to think. Do you know what I mean? Did you feel that way or not? Because you've done amazingly as an overall basketball player. You've played at the highest levels, you've competed for your country at the highest levels, and not necessarily spent 10 years abroad. Do you know what I mean? You've been in the gaff. Do you know what I mean? So like, did you ever feel like you needed to do that? Or
I think again it's like other people's perspectives and their opinions, but I think when I decided to come back it was to do my masters at Loughborough and play for the Riders, and at the time that to me was the best opportunity, and then I kept getting like European offers and the money kept going up and they kept saying, oh, if I get this much I'll go. And then I'm like, it comes in and I'm like, okay, well maybe if I get this much I'll go. And then at the point I was like, I obviously don't want to go. Like, clearly I don't want to go because it's not like I'm not getting offers and just having to stay here.
People will go for free if they really wanted to go.
Exactly. So it's like there's something that's making me not want to go, and whether that is like just like I said, home comfort or whatever it is. And then I was like, well, also like at the time the league was, I was there like 2 years before the WBBL started, and it seemed like things were progressing, and like the level of competition was progressing. I was like, well, why not like stay here and try and build, and we talk about keeping British players in this country and building our own domestic league. Why not be one of those people? people that's doing that and trying to push the level forward.
Nice.
So yeah, it was a bit of both really.
That's dope. So years went by, you're doing all that. You obviously since the Olympics, what year did we go to Commonwealth Games?
So that was 2018, yeah.
You've done Eurobasket in between that.
Yeah.
So now you're like rocking back with GB and
Yeah.
stuff because you're killing in the British League, just tearing that shit up. Time for Commonwealth Games now.
Yeah.
Mentally, how do you feel? Do you feel like you're not on the back foot like you was when it was Olympics time? Now you feel like, yo, I'm the shit.
Yeah.
And here's my body of work.
Yeah.
None of this, I weren't involved in no ass camps and this, that, and coaches. Doesn't matter who the coaches. Do me.
Yeah.
How did you feel when you got selected for Commonwealth?
Yeah.
That's the next biggest thing outside of the Olympics.
Yeah. I think like when the news came out that it was happening and we were going to be involved, it was like, yep, I'm doing this. Like the motivation was like sky high. Obviously because of the experience I've had. And at the time I'd just moved back to Manchester, and I'm playing like the best basketball I've been playing. Like I'm playing under my dad, like coach, like obviously I'm going to feel confident. So yeah, I'm playing like really well in my opinion, and then playing for GB the last couple of years and like I was doing so well. It's like the momentum and everything just felt so positive. It was like, yeah, it just felt like a really good space that I was in.
So it was a great experience. Like that was my first time ever getting an England jersey.
Really?
Ever. Obviously I went GB Eurobasket the year before, but England I got cut when I was like under 14s. So it took me like over 10 years to get back. But this isn't like going to like Lillishore and doing Wales, Scotland, all that. This is big time.
Yes.
So I'm like, hell yeah, let's do it. And at that time I hated playing basketball in Scotland. I hated it, which is ironic because we had Scotland in Commonwealth Games and I was playing there. When you got proposed to, how was that for you? Because we all knew it was coming. Do you know what I mean? And obviously we're all there jumping around, but just finished your game and you didn't know what was happening. Like, what was that like? Because the Commonwealth Games was such an amazing experience overall. The basketball was fun for us. Being in a village is fun. Being admired by everyone, going to different sports. Even when we was in like the Team England like hotel at breakfast, I'm like, yo, that's really that's like all having breakfast together, different sports. It was amazing. So to top it off with like being proposed to, and actually went global, actually went viral. What was that like?
Overwhelming. Like I'm quite low key as you can tell. But yeah, so wasn't expecting it at all, which I know everyone says that, but like I literally was not expecting it. They just said like come down and get a picture on court after the game because you guys were going to Cannes after. So we weren't actually going to be in the same place for a bit. So he's like, this could be the only opportunity of both, here, get a picture. So like, okay, so I'm falling for it. So I'm just like waiting, and I'm like, it's funny because I'm going down, and Azania knew that he was going to do it. And I said to Azania, I've not got any England stuff on. Like, can I borrow your shirt? And I could tell she like didn't want to give it me. Because she probably thought, you don't want to be in England during this. But I was like, yeah, I need it, whatever. So I'm putting this on and turn around, he's on one knee, and I was like, oh god.
In Australia, crazy.
It was amazing, but just after. It got way too much.
Everywhere.
It went crazy.
It was dope because obviously hearing about your situation with the Olympics. Finally getting back. Doing so well individually with your club teams, and at this time you guys hadn't even made it to the final yet.
No.
So that was another thing that was just amazing. But then, what was it like making it to the final and having to play Australia and leaving the Commonwealth Games with a medal? Because there was a time when we couldn't even make the Olympic team. Now the Commonwealth Games in Australia, engaged, playing great, happy in basketball, and you're about to get a flipping medal. The Commonwealth Games, like, talk about 180.
I know.
You know what I mean?
I know.
That's the positive side of mental health. What was that like for you? It's like not always bad.
No, exactly. it was amazing. Like you said, it felt like obviously I was with all the people that we've been on this journey with. Like obviously GB hadn't really performed that well internationally, and over the last few years we were building momentum, getting results, like qualifying for things, and then it was like the Commonwealth Games was just like the pinnacle of like everything coming together, everything working. So like, as much as it was great individually, it was great because everyone around me was experiencing like that same thing, that same climb that they've had. Yeah, so that made it even more special.
So yeah, that whole experience was amazing. It was amazing to be a part of, but you're playing against WNBA level talent now. So like, as a competitor, playing in a final, obviously you want to win, but like the Australian team, men and women, I don't know what they were on, but it was they were on smoke, and it was unreal. What was it like playing in a final? BBC, everyone's there. Remember, you're in Australia, playing against Australians. It's like playing against England at football in England. Do you know what I mean? Like it's all mad. So like, what was that like?
I think for us, the semi-final was like our gold medal match, because we obviously knew the level that Australia were at, and we played it before in the pool stages.
Yeah.
So I think when we beat Canada, that felt like we've just won the gold. To be honest about it.
Because then you lose to Canada before.
Yeah, so we lost by like 20 points, I think, and we ended up beating them by like just under 10, I think.
So to beat them at remember you beat them at such a pivotal point now, in terms of you lost at a time, but now it's crunch time.
Yeah.
You guys lose this game, Commonwealth Games done.
Yeah.
So to beat them at this time, super important. Like I can imagine how it must have felt.
Yeah.
Getting a goal, but as competitors, knowing you got to face Australia next, is it positive but negative? Like what you think? How you going into the game? How you feeling?
I think obviously we were quite realistic. We obviously were going to compete because, like you said, we're competitors. And even like when I think Liz got chucked out.
Cambridge,
got chucked out like quite early, and we're looking at each other on the desk like,
is there a chance?
This is our chance. Forgetting that they've got 11 other players that are like legit. But yeah, so that was quite funny. But yeah, I think nothing could have knocked us at that point. Like we were so like happy, grateful that we were able to compete at that level at the right time in the semi. That the final was just we got to play, see what happens. Like why not kind of thing. Just enjoy it, enjoy the moment, because regardless you're coming back from the So that was a really nice fit. It was weird to be celebrating after a loss. But it was a nice feeling to know that we got a medal. We was
in there going crazy every time you guys were scoring, but like the crowd who were all Australian, other than us who were England basketball and men, they're looking at us like down 40, and you're clapping every time you guys score. You guys are wilding out. I was just like, you guys don't understand what it means. Do you know what I mean? Like the journey that they've been through, and we are England basketball. Like we're family. We've come to support. Like no other, and it really was an amazing experience, man. Like to see you guys win and leave with something was dope. Even though we didn't, it was still like we did.
Yeah, I felt like we were all like super supportive of each other. Like obviously being able to go. Like I remember being like, when's the guys' game? Can we go?
Like, you guys should be courtside.
Like
and stuff.
Like it was very much, and because we were like together for so long, like that whole pre-camp and stuff, just getting, I don't know, it just felt really good, really like positive environment, wasn't it?
I've never been a part of something like that, and I think that's what made it so special, because it wasn't just basketball. It was multi-sport, but even when we go to like the training room on the top floor, there's other athletes and stuff, but we know each other as in basketball, so we same way the track stars will do that, and it was just nice, and then we travelled together, and it was just, it was so long on the summer as well. And even like on the flights, everyone's talking, and in the airports. Remember, we had stupid time we had to leave the hotel. We all experienced that dope stuff together, man. And it was sick. So you do a lot of stuff alongside basketball. So what's your other role now alongside playing professionally?
So I am working for Basketball England in the marketing team, so I kind of look after like the graphic side and like video editing, stuff like that.
Yeah, that's dope because a lot of players see a taboo in working alongside being a professional. It's like if you're a professional, you only do one thing. What made you be open to doing more and tapping into your other interests and stuff?
Yeah, I think my parents, to be honest, like my dad, he obviously played professional here, but he also always did something else. And I think like for him, I think I'm kind of the same way. Like our minds kind of get bored. Like so obviously you invest so much in basketball, and you might be tired, but also it gets a bit. You know, like your downtime gets a bit like it's long. You've got a lot of it. So it's like yes, recover and rest and stuff, but also what else can you be doing? How can you be productive with this time? And then I'm always kind of thinking like next steps after basketball. So when I came back to Manchester, I was like, I want to get involved in marketing. That's what my degree is in. My master's in sports management. And then I got this opportunity with Basketball England, and it just sort of fit. They obviously like the understanding of me playing still, which is really great. So yeah, it just works.
That's very tough in terms of finding a situation that supports and understands a professional basketball player's life and like career and timing and stuff like that, because it's not normal.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? How have you found juggling both? Yeah.
It's definitely been tough at times, like it's seasonal sport, isn't it? So like when your season's wrapping up, so is all of Basketball England's leagues. Yeah. So it's like the busy times are. It's all basketball. It's busy for me, it's busy for the organisation. Yeah. So yeah, it has been tough at times to try and balance everything, but like I said, they've been pretty understanding, and you'd expect that being the governing body for basketball, that they would understand. Yeah. So that's been really good.
How do you feel? Obviously, I already know because we spoke about this before, and you just try to shrug it off, but I'm not having it. Being considered one of like the best female basketball players like our country's probably ever had, being up there in a conversation.
Yeah, it's awkward. I think.
Is it awkward even though you know how much work you put in and what you've achieved?
Yeah, no, it's obviously like it's nice to hear, and like I appreciate that acknowledgement. But yeah, I just think like there's goats in our country that have just achieved so much. I think more like internationally. I think that's why I sort of put myself below that, because they did, and you know how tough it is in Europe, and they've achieved, you know, outside of this country, and they've had to do that because of the level that this country is at. Like I said before, I took the route of staying here and trying to build and make the most of the situation here. But yeah, I think that's probably why I put myself below that, is because it's the level, I guess.
But are you not on the same court as them when it's time to hoop in the summer?
Yeah.
And there you go.
Yeah, no, yeah. I mean, yeah, yeah.
Because I feel like when people struggle with receiving their flowers, do you know what I mean? In terms of like when someone's put the work in and done exceptionally well, consistently for years, decades, they should embrace that, because young people look up to them, like other people look up to them. Like probably you, Joey, maybe you Lo, there's I think Vanderwaal, there's a number of female hoopers that even on the men's side, it'd be like, yeah, I'd pick her to be on my team. And I think, especially from the men's side of basketball, because of like the physical difference, to still be picked and know that you can, because we're only picking if we know you can hold your own. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's definitely kudos to just how well you guys actually have done as basketball players, not as female basketball players, but just basketball in general. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, so do you have any advice for like young hoopers that want to get involved? Not even just young girls, like boys, anyone that wants to be involved with basketball from a young age, that's like wants to keep that fire burning, because in this country it's different to football. You see the lifestyle. So if you're a 9-year-old footballer, you're seeing the lifestyle to just hold on, keep going. Basketball is different. Do you know what I mean? And by the time you get to 15, 16, you want some money now. 17, 18, I gotta get some money.
Yeah.
If basketball isn't given or you ain't got a scholarship, how do you keep that fire burning?
Yeah, it's tough, isn't it? Because you look at like our professional leagues and you're like, you wouldn't even know that it's professional, especially in the women's side. It is tough. I think like the love of the game, like you investing in it, you're always gonna reap rewards. It's just determining whether those rewards suit you and you're grateful for them. So it's like, it might not be money, but it could be experiences. Like I've been fortunate to travel all over the world. Like even not at international level, even with your clubs and stuff, so you get that opportunity. But even and like traveling the country, meeting people, that's a huge one. Like and basketball's such a family. Like even if you don't know them, you know them.
Yeah.
And it's like that connection that brings people together. That could be a motivating factor. Like you found a passion that all these people are passionate about. It's like a little secret society sometimes, unfortunately. But that it is great to be a part of. And like there's nothing that beats that vibe of going to like a basketball event and you just bumping into people and like seeing people. So it's as much as like that experience side and memories and building like relationships with people as much as like the money in your pocket and stuff. Obviously that would be nice to come along with it, but there is opportunities, and I think knowing those opportunities as well, like you might not be seeing those rewards at 15, 16, but investing in what you're doing and building as a player, you will eventually start seeing rewards. So I just think it's keep on. Like you said, it's going to be knocks. That's the type of sport that it is. But they'll come.
And it's like that in life. Like just because if you don't do it in basketball, I don't think it's going to be smooth sailing in other stuff. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Stuff like that. But I appreciate you being on here. Definitely. We're trying to get this done for a while, and fantastic pod. It's another episode wrapped up. The WhyNotI podcast. Like, comment, subscribe, all that. Peace.